Hey everybody, I'm Jay with your Parks and Rec department,
I'm Chris with your Economic Development Department.
and this is the Park Pulse. Welcome back for our Business of the Month edition. And Chris, you've picked another wonderful business. We were talking about this earlier. So tell us why you picked this business.
This month I was really looking for a business that had kind of a service mindset to the community and was basically all about just improving the people that live and work here. And I think with this business we're about to see, we really hit it out of the park with that. And they're just great. They're expanding here in the community this year, and I'm just really excited to tell their story and what they do.
Well, let's tell them what it is. That business is.
More than medicine, healthcare.
All right, everybody, we are back here, and we are with Roshana, and we are inside here, and we're going to get a little more details about what we got going on here. I think the first thing I want to know is why did you pick Forest Park? Why are you here?
I'm in Forest Park because my family's here. My mom and dad live out here still, and before I got married, I lived out here.
Where do they live?
They live in the K section.
The case. How long have they lived there?
Oh, goodness, 28, 29 years.
What's it mean for you to bring a business back to kind of where you live, where your parents live, where you grew up, that kind of thing?
Just wanted to give it back to this community because it gave a lot to us, and it gave a lot to my family currently.
Yeah. Earlier we were talking, and you were telling me kind of a little bit about your family history. About there's some mistrust there, and if you've studied any type of African American history, you know why. Tell me a little bit more about the mistrust, maybe a little more about your family and why that is.
So my family, the reason why I got into this medical field, because my parents and a lot of family members as well did not trust the medical field, the medical community. They felt like they wasn't treated correctly. They put on medications and felt like they got worse after taking the medications. And I just wanted to be able to be a person that people can come to when they need medical care and that they can trust. And so I wanted to give people what my parents wanted.
I think one of the things I've talked to your staff, I've talked to people about you. One of the words I keep hearing about is trust. And I think that word means something when you grew up here, your parents live here, and you're treating people who live here. I think that probably means something a little bit different to you too, that word, because you're going to treat people a little bit differently than, if you pack up at the end of the day and you're moving 45 minutes away, or you've never met these people, your parents don't live here. So that's the trust word I've heard a lot, and I've heard you say it a couple times. What does that mean to you?
That means a whole lot, especially when you're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah.
When people trust you with everything and you make them feel like they're being heard, that's so important. And we treat people as partnerships here. We don't just say, you do this and you do that. We ask them, can we partner together to make your health better? And so that means a lot when people can trust that you have their best interest at heart.
How do you do that? You were talking about, we're not just talking medicine here. What else are we talking about? You're talking about holistic, and what else are we talking about?
Yes, we do offer holistic. I believe in treating the body, mind, soul, and spirit. When I see patients, I ask them, how's your day going? I want to get to know them. I ask them about, do you have any children? Do you have any dogs, any pets? Things like that. So when I see them again and you remember that, they feel like, oh, wow.
So, Roshana, I want to know, did you always want to get into healthcare? And what motivated you to go out and start your own practice?
Actually, I really always wanted to be in the medical field. So as a 10-year-old kid, what I would do is if there was an ailment that my mom or dad had, I would go through my dad's books and look for the book Signs and Symptoms and see what symptoms they had to see what diagnosis I could give them. And I was doing that to everyone in my family. And so my mom was a nurse, and I first became as an LPN and about 28 years ago. And everyone that saw me or saw my work ethic, they would say, you need to be a doctor. So I said to myself, well, I like doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I want to be personable with the patients, their bedside manner and all that. Long story short, that when someone came to me and said, why don't you be a nurse practitioner? And it was out of nowhere. I was able to go in. I'm about to cry. It was, this is like real deep for me. I had lost my job as a nurse. And they told me if I would have was 1 week late or 1 week early, I wouldn't be able to get into nursing school to become a nurse practitioner.
Wow.
So I knew that was my calling. So I got into that, and it's magnificent because you have best of both worlds. There's a saying that says you got the brains of the doctor, but you got the care as a nurse. Yeah. And it's so true. It's like I love doctors. In the state of Ohio, we have a collaborating physician. I have a wonderful collaborating physician. But to take our experience as being a nurse at the bedside and being able to be the words for those patients. Sometimes the patients will come to me, I don't know what they said to me. And you're able to explain that to them on their level, it's awesome. So what really defines our practice is that we don't rush the appointments. We take our time. You might see us for 60 minutes, you might see us for 15 minutes, but it's all because we're trying to address your needs at that visit. Now, we do put limitations on how many concerns you'll have at a visit, because we'll be there all day. But other than that, we really pride ourselves, because if we work, that's one of the reasons why I opened up the practice as well. I'm able to do that. If I worked for a company, it'd be a little harder. They want you to see so many patients at so many times. And so we trying to continue with that trust value, so we take our time with the patients, and some of the patients like it. Some of the patients say, Rashana, you're so thorough. But that's the thing. We can miss things if we're not thorough. Yeah. But we do adjust our times for the patients.
You keep saying we. Who's we?
So I'm so happy to say that we have 2 nurse practitioners that came on board in February. Nice. And we had a re-grand opening on September 23rd to introduce them to the community. They offer so much to our company, to our clinic. And nurse practitioner Shannon and nurse practitioner Christina came on board at More Than Medicine Healthcare. And they bring urgent care needs, they bring weight loss, they do primary care as well. So they're an awesome addition to More Than Medicine. Let me introduce my team. This is Shannon Wheeler, and this is Christina Sherrod. Shannon, can you tell them what you do at our practice?
I specialize in emergency medicine, so here at More Than Medicine, I offer urgent care services.
Awesome. And Christina, can you tell us what you do at our practice?
I do weight loss mainly, and I can do the other stuff too, if you need me to.
Shannon, it's lovely to meet you. I'm in love with your personality. You're just so bubbly and just the personality off the charts. We were talking earlier about how excited you are to be here and kind of what drew you to this job. I know you kind of started here earlier in your career and just kept on going. So what kind of drew you to this practice?
What drew me to the practice was I had the opportunity to precept here when I was in nurse practitioner school. And I really enjoyed the way that Roshana gets to know her patients. She spends a lot of time with them. And for me, coming from emergency medicine, I actually thought it was kind of weird. I'm like, you spend so much time with your patients when I have been trained to go in, do a complete assessment. You need to be like in and out in like 10 minutes. So, but once, 40 minutes hit, 50 minutes hit, I'm like, do you do this with every patient? And she's like, yes. But the patients would say, I love her so much. She listens to me. She's not typing while she's talking to me. Meanwhile, in my other life, my nursing life, that is what we do because, again, like I come from emergency medicine, so you don't have a long time. So it definitely was a learning curve for me, and I actually enjoy talking to people.
I know that. You've got, like I said, you got a great personality. I'm sure when you're doing kind of like that, it feels like speed dating, like you're just you miss some things. But when you're spending time with patients and you're doing that head to toe, that thoroughness, you're making sure you're hitting everything, talking about everything, and you can be a lot more thorough with them than you can really with other patients.
Well, I'm thorough, and it's because as soon as I lay my eyes on you, I am assessing you from the time you start talking to me or I see you stand up. Like I'm starting my assessment at that moment. But again, like being at More Than Medicine, we can't ask you, how's your family? How are your children? You know, tell me about your pets. What did you eat for dinner yesterday? And people, it makes them more relaxed. Like you're able to build a better rapport when you become more personal with your patients.
What are you looking for in the future here in the next year, 2 years, that kind of thing?
I'm hoping that we get more patients. I'm hoping that we can do community classes here. I also specialize in diabetes education. So I'm hoping that we can do more with the community. Like, there's a lot of health disparities that people don't normally think about. Like, where's the nearest grocery store? How come in this neighborhood they don't have a dietitian in the grocery store to help them with their groceries? So if you can bring people in for classes, like you can teach them how to read a food label, you know, look at the salt intake, look at the total carbohydrate count. Why is my blood pressure still high? I'm eating vegetables, but you're eating canned vegetables out of Walgreens or out of Family Dollar versus, hey, you should get these frozen vegetables or, you know, get you a small pack of fresh vegetables and just try, you know, different recipes or different things like that.
More education.
More education.
Yeah.
Educating your patients will help them to gain more access to more resources and better resources.
And I know Roshana's not afraid of education because, you know, she said when we were talking earlier today, if I send my patient home and they've got more education, which means I see them less because they're healthier, that's better. So I know you guys aren't afraid of educating the community and getting out there, and so we really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you out here for more community events. All right, Christina, we heard from Shannon. Now we want to hear a little bit about you. What drew you to this practice?
Well, I've known Roshana for about 5 years now. We met in actually a Black MP group, and I used to ask her questions. I was still in school, I think, for my family nurse practitioner, and I used to ask her because she was very approachable. So I used to ask her all these questions, and she became like a mentor. And when this year, we talked, whatever, and she's at a lot of community events and that I'm at, and we talked, and she's like, hey, would you like to be a nurse practitioner at my practice? I'm like, at yours? So I felt honored that, she thought that I was, good enough to take care of people, and that she trusts me to have patients trust me.
I know you really look up Roshana because you've talked a lot about how she's in the community and how much you respect her. Talk a little bit about you live right down the street.
I live in Green Hills.
You live
in the J section.
In the J section. You live in Green Hills. We're in Forest Park. Our kids go to the same schools. They ride the same buses. They play sports together. We're neighbors. We grocery shop. We do everything together. What does that mean to you to work here, to treat the same patients? What does that mean to you?
Being in the community and serving the people that I know, they know me, it's really good because, I can tell them about a lot of things in the community, as far as like health, like, anybody that we partner with, where to go shopping, where not to go shopping. Knowing a lot of people that own businesses and being able to refer my neighbors to that business. And, it's just good to be in a community that I work in because that brings even more trust. Like, I know my neighbor, like, I know I'm going to go to her, and they know me personally, like, me, not like outside of my professionalism. I mean, I am the goofy one, but they know me.
Trust. It goes back to that word trust.
Yes, absolutely. So them knowing me outside of work and still trusting me to take care of them and to educate them and, tell them about health, that means a lot to me.
One of the things I keep hearing is community. I hear trust. And these are all things that I just find phenomenal, especially when you're talking about healthcare, because those are things you don't hear about. You hear more about in and out, and you hear about money and deductibles, and you hear about those types of terms. you don't really walk into a facility like this and you start hearing things like neighbor and family and stuff like that. So it's just got to feel good to work here instead of, somewhere else like that.
Yes, it does. And of course, I would love to put all my hours in working here, but I do work a day job where it's just, in and out, we take care of people, but I feel rushed. I can't be, hey, what's going on with you? And with here, in the community, the patients can relate to me as well. Like, I grew up in the hood, so anybody who grew up, having like not enough food to eat, maybe going from place to place, I know what it is like to go through that. And they sit up here and sit up like, oh, you're a nurse practitioner. No. I'm you. You're me. So I'm not above you. I know what it is to go through. And me knowing that and experience that, I can actually help refer them or help even take them places or anything like that, because I know that. So I am the patient as well as being the practitioner. So
What are you looking forward to do over the next year or two at this facility?
I'm looking to bring more patients in, as Shannon Rashana talked about, education. I don't like teaching, but teaching classes, because I think that is important for everybody to be educated, especially our Black and brown, because of the health disparities.
I've heard you guys talk a lot about you want to educate the community. Like what, based on your specialty, what do you want to educate the community about?
So actually, I kind of fell in the specialty of weight loss. And I really want to educate about that because, again, I'm relatable with that. I've had the gastric sleeve. I've been on GLP medicine myself, which is the injectable weight loss medicine. So, again, I am the patient. They are.
Relatable.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
So I really want to focus on that, especially like eating healthy, exercising, because that is a big deal, and trying to fit in exercising with a hectic schedule. I have a lot of kids. So doing that is something that I can talk about, as well as primary care. I want to bring more patients in because all of that weight loss is a part of the whole body. So I can't take care of just one thing without taking care of the whole.
Yeah. Chris, you really knocked it out of the park on this one. One of the things that we kept hearing over community, and I just think we were talking earlier about their hours and how they want to serve the community because they're open late on weeknights, they're open on weekends. That had to be one of the things that drew you to this business as well.
Yeah, I'm always looking for businesses that kind of have that community mindset, and I think we really just knocked it out of the park today with More Than Medicine. From this quick interview, I think it's evident, and I hope it's evident to everybody at home that they really care about their patients, and the people that they're seeing here aren't just a number to them. They're invested in your well-being, and they really want to make a difference in people's lives. And I just think that's something that's really special and that we're lucky to have here in Forest Park.
Yeah, another business that kills it here in Forest Park. We are lucky to have it here in Forest Park. So that's our business of the month for September 25. So thank you, Chris. And we'd like for all of you to have a Forest Park Day.